Dear students, welcome to my class. It's me Rakesh Kumar Jha. I welcome all of you at Unacademy platform. It's me Rakesh Kumar Jha. Let's crack UPSC CSE exam with us. It is India's largest learning platform. We have also daily live classes, structured courses, and live tests and quizzes as well. Unlimited access, everything is out there. For all these things, what you have to download Unacademy app, and if you download, definitely you will get a lot of things. Myself, I am Rakesh Kumar Jha. I am an MA in political science from Ramjas College, Delhi University, PGO diploma in journalism, and I have also done mass communication, and from KU everything is there. Participate in different talk shows as an expert on All India Radio, Akashvani, New Delhi, Lok Sabha TV, Raj Sabha TV. I have also participated as a speaker in a number of national and international seminars, workshops. I have received a lot of certificates and appreciations by the reputed organizations. I have successfully guided a large number of students, some of them, IAS officer and police officers as well. So this is the little information about me. It's Telegram link Rakesh Jha Discourse Academy, and Unacademy profile link is Rakesh 7 Jha 8443. My philosophy is that Atmanirbhar be your own light. We have more than top 100 educators with us at Unacademy platform. We do offer comprehensive syllabus like polity, governance, IR, geography, science, technology, NCRT summary, history, optional courses, environment and ecology, art and culture, current affairs that I will be taking, Indian economy, practice, strategy, answer writing courses. We do have UPSC CSE subscription for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months and 12 months as well. So what I can say you that please you join iconic course. It is very good for you, and plus course is also there. There are two types for 12 months course and for 24 months course. If you apply this RJ01, you will have 10% discount. So please apply my code, reference code RJ01. You will get 10% discount. Live classes, test series, unlimited practice, structure, schedule, personal coaches, daily mains and practice study planner. Okay. Now if you apply only, then you will get 10% discount, right? So it's all about. I am also taking PSIR, political science and international relation, as an optional paper. So this is the duration from 1 month up to 36 months, and that's there. So please you use my code RJ01, get 10% discount. I am Rakesh Jha. I am also taking a live class on academy platforms of current affairs. Right now I am going to discuss about political theory and Indian politics. Part A, the political theory and thinker. Dear students, it is very important to note, all of you, that political science is very important subject, not only in the mains, rather it will help you in the interview also. Why? Because the nature of the subject is something like that. You can have a lot of topics which are directly indirectly related to the UPSC syllabus, and particularly in the interview also. It will also help in the you know essay also. This is what I am going to discuss today, and I hope that you will definitely enjoy all these topics with me. And let's start. Myself Rakesh Kumar Jha. I am a civil services coach, author and motivational speaker. So let's start and see the things. Okay, right? Okay, very true, very true. So table of content is there. This is the complete table of content of PSIR optional subject paper 1 as per the UPSC pattern. We will also discuss it in various lecture form like part 1, part 2 and everything is there. So this is what I am going to discuss, and this time like theory of a state, the feminist theory and everything is out there. Lot of things that I have already discussed in the previous my classes. Right now I am going to discuss about political theory and Indian politics. Political theory and thinkers that are very important topics of the political science. Theories of the state feminist, because if you look at the previous approaches of the theories, like the liberal theories approach and the Marxist approach towards the theory, post-colonial theories approach, like it is also feminist theories, that what feminist thinkers and thoughts are narrating about the theories of a state. That do you think that the state is also something like that? Because all of us that the state runs, but a state runs with it with some limitations, with some rules and regulation. Without it, state cannot run. I have to say all of you that, dear student, please try to understand all the nitty-gritty, and I hope that if you understand all these things, is very very important for you to understand, because you know what is a state. A state is an entity where every citizen wants their right to be enjoyed by themselves, because ultimately the state's duty is what? State duty is to give maximum freedom, maximum welfare things to grow up, to flourish the things that you know particular citizen and the organization or the section of the society wants to do that sort of things. Once again, I have to tell you about the state, that you see after the state when it had come to into existence, definitely they had a something kinds of things, and you know that is very much important. Besides also, that your state is something like that, that a state is something like that, it has to be given rights, justice, equality, all sort of values the democratic system does have. So I think that if you understand all these things, only then you can manage, you can write, you can describe each and every aspects of the political science. And that's the political science, that's the political science that you have to. Then, right now, I am going to discuss about the theories of the state feminist view. Because you know, if you don't know the feminist view, then you are not going to complete your syllabus. So your compulsion is that you have to also study all the perspective of the state. Right now, I am discussing about theories of the state, that is the feminist theory. Yes, definitely, the feminist theory is about equality for women and men. So, all feminists struggle for gender impartiality. There are many ways to approach this theory, including you know liberal feminism, socialist feminism, ethical feminism. What I mean to say, that if you could understand that all feminist theories are asking about the equality, equality for whom? Equality for men and women, equality for women and men. Our society consists of two sections of the gender. The first one is the woman, second one is man. So man and woman both comprises society. And you know, in most of the democratic systems, or in most of the world, you can find out that what is happening in most of the countries, you can find out that it you know it is the man who dominates the system, it is the man who dominates the things. So recently you could have seen that in Germany at the top level, what had happened, that the, the things, I mean the women representations have been increased. Same way, you could have find out that even in the Bihar state, the panchayat, in the panchayat, what happened, that the government had reserved 50% seats for the women. So this is the development of in 21st century. Now no one can stop women to become participatory role, because women are equally having the same mental abilities if they do, because you know just in the name of gender you cannot stop anyone. That is why when today what is happening, the government is giving maximum freedom. Maximum freedom means even in the army, even in the navy, even in you know air force, women empowerment is going. Women empowerment, what does it mean? It means that women must be given the power. Power, without power women cannot exist. Or I can say that men and women are having same stake in the society, same stake in the form of administration. So if the criteria meant by given by the women, what's wrong with them? Equality must be prevail in the society, because you could have seen that in the old days what happened, that women were not allowed to go outside of their houses. Why? Because there were so many restrictions. But now in the 21st century, in today's era, a lot of development have taken place, and the values have been injected, values have been sailed through these things, and that is also very good. That okay, this is possible only when the education level will arise. Education level will go up to the marks. That's why, in older days, you could have found that even Raja Ram Mohan Rai started Brahmo Samaj. What was the Brahmo Samaj? Brahmo Samaj was also asking about the women dignity. So, women dignity, if you go by the national movement also, freedom of national movement, what happened that even in those days, a lot of things was there, but ultimately was a kind of it was a kind of feeling that okay, women should stay at the home and men should go outside the home, so that men can work, men can earn money, and women can look after houses. But slowly steadily, with rapid changes, with a lot of educational values, a lot of things have happened. And finally, what has happened? Finally, women came out from their houses, women wanted to get the education, women wanted to have the education, to receive the education. These all things have happened. That is the thing that you have to also understand. So my question is very simple, that dear student, don't worry, because if you study political science to understand all the nitty gritty, you should know the things in a very perfect manner, in a very rightful manner, in a way that is there. Once again, I have to say, dear student, that please don't worry, and I hope that if you understand all these things, then definitely you would have a better position in understanding the thing. Next, feminist theory is also the expansion of feminism into theoretical. So, feminist theory is the expansion of feminism into theoretical, fictional, or philosophical discourse. The aim of feminist theory is to understand nature of gender inequality. What I have to say, that if the feminist theory, the expansion of feminism into theoretical, fictional, or philosophical discourse, this we have to also understand, that let's say the aim of feminist theory is to understand the nature of gender inequality. It also scrutinizes the women's social roles, experience, interests, course, and feminist politics in various fields such as anthropology, sociology, communication, psychoanalysis, home economics, literature, education, philosophy. These are the so many things that you have to understand all these nitty gritty. Once again, I have to make you understand that you should understand all these things in a very rightful manner, in a very perfect manner, in a very understanding manner. So I have to make you understand that the feminist theory is about equality for women, and the people who think that feminism is something like against the men and against, no, it is not something like. It is all about the advocacy of the feminist theory. It is all about the advocacy of women. That has to be understood by you, because if you don't understand one point, that suppose one point is there, then second A is there, then B is there, so B is there, then C is there, and then D is there. If there are D categories, A, B, C, D, four perceptions, so all these two perceptions are in the same group. Okay, A and B, that is the old one. But at the same time, if you do not understand A and B, then you should go for C and D as well, so that you can understand C. So I have to make you understand that feminism is not against anyone. Feminist means they are also asking about their roles, about their say, about their participation in the society, because without it, nothing can be achieved, and justice cannot be prevailed, equality cannot be established. Equality is also there to establish themselves. I feel that feminist theory is a good approach for what, for women who have to understanding of all these things, have to have all sort of things in a particular and rightful manner. So I hope that if you understand these things, then definitely feel that feminist theory is also very justified. So once it is justified, then definitely you can understand the things in a very nitty gritty way. So I hope that, let's say, Let's understand all these things, okay? And like in the women's social roles, you can understand that a lot of other things, and in a lot of perspectives, like it is, you don't know, home economics is there, then literature is there, then you know education is there. So all sort of things are there that you have to also understand. So if you understand all these things, then definitely you will have a better position. You have say all sort of things in a proper and rightful direction, okay? So this is the feminist theory that we have to understand, okay dear students. Now I am going to the next. Many scholars Many scholars proclaim that feminism is the faith that women should have equal rights to men. Very true, because you know many scholars, and as it is said that also women should have also equal rights to men. As a result, the feminist movement battles for equal rights and opportunities for women. This is what you have to also understand, that this feminist movement battles for equal rights, opportunities for women. There are several types of feminism, and feminists themselves tend to disagree about the ways in which women are deprived, which actions should be taken to get equal rights. For example, social feminists believe that women are exploited by the capitalist system both at work and home. It is a kind of narratives that you can understand, that it is scholars are feeling that okay, this is the feelings of feminism. Second, it is the women should have equal right to men. They are saying the rights must be given, equal rights must be given to the women also. It's also very important. So if you understand all this perspective, only then you can be able to write the question. Please try to understand the nitty-gritty so that you can have a better understanding. You can have a good role, and so that it is very important to get the understand, okay? Now they are also saying, social feminists believe that women are also exploited by the capitalist system both at work and home. So if it is there, I think everything must be calculative, must be very important. So this is what we have to also understand, and I hope that if you understand all these things, you can have a better understanding, okay? Now I am telling you that you know many intellectuals stated that feminist theory emphasizes on the analyzing gender inequality. What you have to say? Many intellectuals stated that the feminist theory emphasizes on analyzing gender inequality. Subjects explored in the feminism include discrimination, objectifications, especially sexual objectification, operations, patriarchy, stereotyping, art history, and contemporary arts and aesthetics. It is also intellectuals stated that the feminist theory is all about, it is a kind of analyzing gender inequality. Subjects explored in the feminism, it is also, it's a kind of discrimination, it is a kind of objectification, it is a kind of operation, because in the society the female are something like that, because of the men mindset, it is the society mindset that women cannot take participation in all the working things. Now it is totally clear that men and women are having the same things if they qualify. Suppose in the IAS examination, if men and women are applying and the questions are solved by the women or men, then definitely both would be qualified. So what is the role of the gender in it? That is the point, that in the feminist theory or the feminist thinkers or the feminist philosophy are saying that you cannot discriminate women or women on the behalf of their particular kinds of things, their particular kinds of work. Ultimately, it is the society who accept all these things. It is a society to accept all these points, what we have to also understand. Now, next is that both females and males who categorize themselves as feminists disagree on many things. That being said, most feminists agree on the following basic principles: working to increase equality. Feminist thought links ideas to action, insisting we should push for change towards gender equality, not just talk about it. Both sections of the society, whether it is male, female, both have to think that themselves as feminists disagree on many things. That being said, most feminists agree on the following basic principles: working to increase equality. Feminist thought links ideas to actions, insisting we should push for change toward gender equality and not just talk about it. So I can understand that what is there. I can understand what point is there. Basic point is that if you understand all these things, then only you can write the questions in a perfect manner. Because writing is an art. What happens, dear student, most of the cases, if you don't know the topics in a perfect manner, then you are not going to solve your question. Because generally it happens either in the political science optional paper or in other optional paper. If you do not know the things in a rightful manner, then definitely you cannot going to write the questions in a perfect way. So the basic point is that everything should be very much clear to you. If you cleared all these things, only then you can write the questions. Here basic principles are that we should push for change, that the feminist thinkers are saying that definitely it should be focused, that the equality must be established. Without equality, nothing can be achieved. This is the theory that we have to know. Next, I am going to share about expanding human choices. What does it mean? What does it mean? Expanding human choice. Feminists believe that both men and women should have the freedom to develop their human interests, talents, even those interests and talents conflict with the status quo. For example, if a woman wants to be a mechanic, she should have the right and opportunity to do so. So, this is the expanding human choice. Means under our article also, under our constitution also, everyone has the freedom to adopt whatever she or he likes. So what you have to also understand. So the feminists believe that both men and women should have the freedom to develop their human interests and talents. This is the point that in every society, everyone has the right to explore, to establish things. That is the point. Eliminating gender stratification. It is also one of the challenges. It is also one of the hurdles and objections society, that how to eliminate gender stratification. Feminists oppose law and cultural norms that limit income, educational, and job opportunities for women. It is also very important that in most of the cases that feminist also opposes the law and the cultural norms. Like every society has its culture, every society has its norms. So that norms should be not like that. It should limit the income of the person, or particularly I am talking about the women, educational and job opportunities for the women. It is saying that in almost all cases, and all cultural norms, all educational opportunities or the job opportunities should not be curbed job culture. This point you have to understand, that what happens, the cultural norms. Underline it, okay? What is this cultural norms? What is this cultural norms? So cultural norms means that he or she should think that okay, if the culture norms are there, if the culture norms must be there, it means that every society or every kinds of things are there. So the culture norm, in the name of culture, in the name of norms, the name of tradition, women cannot be suppressed. by getting for getting education, for getting good job opportunities, to increase their income. What eliminating the gratification talks about. Now next is also very important, ending sexual violence and promoting sexual freedom. Feminists feel that the women should have control over their sexuality and the reproduction. It is also one of the thoughts that the feminists believe that they should have control over their sexuality and reproduction. This should have also, because in generally what happened, that it is the society what happened will decide that okay, you should have one or two child or three childs, like that and all. But it is said that no, women should have also equal right. So it is also demanding the nature to establish this. I feel that if you understand all these points, then definitely you can elaborate feminist theory in a very particular way. Now, types of feminism. What are the types of feminism that we have to also understand? There are three basic forms of feminism. The first form is that liberal feminism, second is that social feminism, third is that radical feminism. If you go for all these feminism, whether it is that liberal feminism, social feminism, or radical feminism, these all things you have to understand. First of all, I am going to discuss about liberal feminism. Basically, that it is embedded in classic liberal thought and beliefs that individuals should be free to develop their own abilities and follow their own interests. This approach visualizes their gender inequalities as rooted in the attitudes of our social and cultural institutions. Liberal feminists do not understand women's equality as requiring a reorganization of the society, but they do seek to expand the rights and opportunities of women. But I feel that the liberal feminism is also very important, that it is embedded in the classical and liberal thought and beliefs that the individuals should be free to develop their own ability and follow their own interest. It is a liberal discussion, a liberal feminism, because that they do believe that the individual should be free to develop their own abilities and follow their own interest. Basically, it is also rooted in the social and cultural institution. Suppose Mr. A or Miss A, whatever the person, they do believe that all people of the society should have the equal rights, equal freedom to develop their own abilities. You do have your own ability to develop and follow their own interest. It is the duty of the society, it is the duty of the person to develop our own ability and our own interest. This is very good. That it is also, if you democratically look at this theory, if you democratically analyze this theory, then definitely you can understand that okay, even in a democratic system, it is said that everyone has the equal right to develop the own ability or own interest. It is also very equal. I can share with you that if you understand this thing, definitely it would help you in a better understanding, a better capacity. And please try to understand all these nitty-gritty. Definitely you would have perfection, you would have a better understanding, and one by one theories of feminism have to understand. One by one feminism have to understand in a way that you can do. I can understand, I can show you perfect right. I can make you understand the things what you like. I can make you understand things what you don't like. So point is that it is the individual capacity, it is the individual understanding, it is the individual approach towards feminism. Okay. Now I am going to make you understand. Next one is that it is very, then the focus, they focus mostly to protect equal opportunities for women through legislation. So their focus is very much important for women through legislation. The liberals are in the view that The things are there, the rules are there, that should be legal legislation. So the liberals are focusing on the point that it should be focused on what? Focused on the basis of legislations. That until unless you are not putting up the legislation. Suppose I have said you, I have given one example also, that in the Bihar what has happened? That in the Panchayati Raj, what has happened? The government has given 50% reservation. Once the norms or any rule or opportunities is being legalized through any legislation, then definitely it would have said to say yes. If you could not have legalized, or if you could not have legislized, then what would happen? That would not be in the existence. So the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment in 1972 was major step towards for liberal feminist program, which is in part states that equality of rights under the law shall not be exercised by the United States or by any state on account of sex. What you have to understand, I have to make you understand that these all are important points. These all are very important points. Why I am saying this? Because this focuses on the equal opportunities for women through legislation. Passage of the Equal Rights Amendment there. So ultimately, all the liberals are asking, all the liberals are saying about what? About the equal rights, about the rights which are very true, which are very important for every section of the society, and particularly for women. So this you have to understand. Okay. Now you know, reports indicated that the United States of America, 35 states have ratified the amendment. 30 are 38 are needed for it became a part of the US Constitution. The 15 states that have not ratified the Equal Rights Amendment include those in the Deep South, Midwest, and Southwest, including Florida, Missouri, and Nevada. So these are the things that you have to understand. So I can make you understand that if you understand all these things, ultimately it is the duty of the state to provide equal rights, equal opportunities for women also. This is the demand, and that is the point that you have to also understand. So I think that if you understand all the nitty-gritty, if you do all these points in a very rightful and perfect manner, then definitely it will serve your purpose. Okay. Now next theory, the socialist theory, that is also very important. What is socialist feminist theory? Basically, you know, it advances the philosophy of Karl Marx. Socialist feminism was a subdivision of feminism that became popular in the women's movement during the 1960s and 1970s. Socialist feminism recollects many of the same goals as the first feminist movement. Socialist feminists accepted the ideologies of radical feminists that gender roles need to be abolished, but they also visualized gender and sexuality as social constructs both capable of transformation, while they recognize that biology does play a role in determining personality. Anatomy does not confine or limit our capabilities as human beings on an emotional or a physical level. This is what you have to also understand, that the socialist family theory, that it also advances the philosophy of Karl Marx. So what does it mean? That it is the theory that you have to understand, that it is socialist feminist theory, that it advances the philosophy of Karl Marx. Socialist feminism was a subdivision of feminism that became popular in the women's movement in the 1960s and 1970s. So basically, what Karl Marx says, it was something like that. Socialist feminists recollects many of the same goals at the first as the first feminist movement were there. They accepted the ideology of radical feminism, that gender roles need to be abolished. They also visualized that the gender and sexuality are the social contact, both capable of transformation. You cannot say man can do or woman cannot do. Both can do. You cannot recognize the biology of determining a personality. You cannot say that the because of anatomy something cannot be happen. It is, human beings have the same emotion, human beings have the same desire, human beings have the same things. So how can you say this woman cannot do as compared to the men? So this attitude, this mind, this bent of thinking must be stopped. This is the kind of social theory. So basically, radical theories have been saying this. I think that if you go by this, if you understand this by, definitely it is very important to know that whether it is socialist thinking or any kinds of thinking or the theories, it is to be there. You have to understand all these things. So precisely, you have to understand all these points, because I feel that every student should understand, and without understanding these things, nothing is going to help you. So there are different paradigms, there are different perspectives of the feminist theory, whether it is liberal theory, whether it is socialist theory. All the theories should be taken as a very serious note. You should understand all these things in a very particular way. Okay, now after doing all these things, I do believe in the ideas. The ideas are that you should understand all these things in a very nitty-gritty way. Now I have to say, akin to Marxist, socialist feminists use capitalism as a major factor in women's oppression. What socialists are thinking that because of capitalism, these are, women oppressions have been doing, as well as in the oppression of other minority groups. This Miller or Marxist feminist. However, socialist feminists believe that capitalism is the only one of many tangled factors that contributed women's oppression. Other factors include, male dominance, racism, and imperialism. I think that if you go by this, then definitely it will help. It is also there that if you understand this thing, you have to understand also. It is established in the reports that socialist, feminists agreed that the liberal feminism does not appreciate the depth of the oppression of women, and basically only addresses the situations of the women of the upper and upper middle class. They also agree that the women have been oppressed in almost all known society, but the nature of these representations has differed because of the different economic realities. I feel that if you understand all these things, you should understand in a very nitty-gritty way. What you have to understand that what Marxists are saying, what they are saying, and how capitalism are a tool of, women oppression, as per Marxist thinkers are saying. Operations of the minority group is there. Marxist feminists, what they are saying, socialist feminists believe that capitalism is also one of the many factors. So these all are thinking and all. It also established in the reports that the socialist feminists agree that the liberal feminism does not appreciate the depth of the oppression of the women, and basically it is, the situations of women of the upper and upper middle class. They also agree that the women have oppressed in almost all known societies, but the nature of this repression has different because of the different economic realities. Very true, because it depends upon the economic realities, from which category, from which strata of the society women belong to. That you have to understand. So in a precise note, what I can say, these all are very important, they all are very much relevant, and you do believe in all sort of things. Please try to understand all the nitty-gritty, and I hope that if you understand these things, then definitely you should have a better understanding, better positions, better knowing conditions, so that you can know all these things in a proper way, right? So if you have any doubt, then you can put up the questions also. Next, socialist feminists do not contemplate that oppression of women is based solely on the economic system. They recommend that patriarchy and capitalism are combined into one system. Socialist feminists are saying no, it is not because of the economic system. It is also because of the societal nature. Because the society is patriarchally and the capitalism. These are the two tools on which this thing is happened. So that is very important. They consider that we must understand the continuing effects that how colonization, how imperialism and racism have on the women of the world. It's also very important. Next theory, socialist feminists interfered that it incorrect to propose that any one of the form is oppression is the most important for them. Instead, they identify that oppression based on sex, gender, class, race, and sexual orientations are all interwoven to effectively challenge any one of these forms of oppression. It is required to well understand and challenge all of them. So please try to understand all the nitty-gritty, and I hope that if you understand all these things, then definitely you would have a better position in the understanding of socialist way of thinking. And these all approaches are very much relevant, and these all socialist thinkers are saying that okay, because of the oppression of the gender, because of the on the base of class, race, and orientations, are very important to know how effective it is, how challenging it is, how it is oppressive, and how it can be really stopped. Because ultimately, it is the societal approach, it is the legislations, it is the society, it is the woman itself, and society itself have to think about the men and women are equal. They can play equal roles in all form of the works, whether it is in society or in the any kinds of work. Both can do the same kind of work. Okay. Next, socialist feminist also accentuate economic, social, and cultural importance of the women as people who give birth, socialize children, care of for the sick, and provide the emotional labor that creates the area of the home as a retreat for men from the realities of the workplace and the public arena. So this you have to understand that how women take care of the family, of the children. Everyone has to be taken care by the women itself. This is the kinds of retreat. This is the kind of feeling, emotional foundation that women have to the family. The list feminists also views that this is an important labor that is ignored and denigrated. They are concerned with the reality of the early person calls the second shift. Socialist feminists highlight the, that within the workplace, women face challenges of job market segregations, lower wages for the same work, sexual harassment is there. They also identify that labor movement has been complete in the mentally. These all things you have to understand in a very perfect right way. Why I am saying all these things are very important? Because you have to look at all these movements in a very perfect manner. Okay, this is the what you have to understand. Okay, right. So radical feminist theory. Now we have to discuss about radical feminist theory. Radical feminism is concerned with the equivalence for women. Radical feminism is a perspective in feminism that calls for a radical reorganization of society in which male dominance is eliminated in all social and economic contexts. Radical feminists seek to abolish patriarchy by challenging existing social norms and institutions rather than through a purely political process. This includes challenging the concept of traditional gender roles, opposing the sexual objectification of women, and raising public mindfulness about such issues as rape and violence against women. These are the things that you have to understand regarding the radical feminist theory. These are the things that you have to understand. Radical feminism is basically a perspective within the feminism. That is a call for reorganization of society. Dominance is eliminated in all social and economic. They are seeking that these patriotic things of patriotic pattern of the society must be stopped. It must be stopped in a sense, but in the name of anatomy, in the name of gender, cannot be happen. They are also saying that all social and economic context must be all kinds of things must be there so that it has to be also understood that okay that social and economic context there that has to be also understood. Okay, now I have to make sure that what next. Feminist political theory. How what the feminist political theory is progressive field in the political science that mainly focus on gender and feminist topics, the state institutions and policies. Basically, this is the feminist political theory, very important. It raises concern on the modern political theory dominated by the universalistic liberal thoughts and which claims indifferences the gender or the other identity differences and has therefore taken its time to open up to such concerns. And feminist political theory is a dissimilar subfield of feminist theory working towards three main goals. So these are the things that you have to understand. So I can assure you that whether the feminist political theory is a progressive field or not, it is you to decide. Whether the institution's role is rightful or wrongful, it is you to decide. It is because political science is a subject. Whether you can have a view, you can generate your view after reading theory, thought, thinkers, philosophies, ideologies. Is you to also assess the things that on what ground, on what basis it is there. I feel that every student has to go in deep to understand thinking approaches of all sort of. I feel that if you do by doing all sort of things, it will definitely help you. It will help a lot of other senses, and I hope that please try to understand in a very nitty gritty way. And I hope that if he does a lot of things, and definitely I can hope that you will do very good things there. Okay, so now I can make you sure that please try to understand and let's see the thing. Now it is also very true that this complicated relationship mainly developed from Eurocentric viewpoint from which former colonial powers saw themselves. Their colonial policy was often condemned as arrogant, ignorant, brutal, and simply naive. Their final colonial failure and the total interdependence of the once suppressed made the process of decolonization rather tense and emotional. What I am saying you that these all complicated relationships is basically since it was Eurocentric, but basically definitely either it was American or European. Most of these thoughts and futures and the values have come from them because they were of that view. Definitely you have to think on that line that what they are saying, that most of the points, most of the things that they have said like this. Okay, so if you go by this, definitely you would have a understanding, and their colonial policy was often something like that. And because this is a kind of typical understanding that you have to also understand. Please try to understand all these things, that how Eurocentric viewpoint or how American viewpoints, all the viewpoints you have to understand, because it is said most of the views, most of the ideas, most of the points have had root cause in the American system or in the European system. That's what you have to understand, dear students. So I think that by explaining all these points, you could have understood these things. So please just focus, please understand these things in nitty-gritty so that you can write the question answer in a very perfect manner. Okay. Now to understand and critique role of gender in how political theory is conventionally constructed. It's also very important to know. To reframe and re-articulate conventional political theory in the light of feminist issues, especially gender equality, you understand. And I hope that if you understand all these things, you will have a better understanding. Next, to support political science, assuming and pursuing gender equality. This is also very important. So let's discuss all these things, and I hope that if you discuss all these things, you'll have a better understanding. And I think if you do this thing, have better understanding on the topics. So next, I am going to discuss about feminist political theory incorporates a broad scope of approaches. It overlays with related areas including feminist jurisprudence, feminist legal theory, feminist political philosophy is there, female centered empirical research in the political science, and feminist research methods feminist methods there for use in political science, social science. So I have to make you understand that because once any theory comes into the existence, whether it is feminist theory or any other theory, feminist theory demands that definitely the female centered empirical research in political science must be there. What are the exact situations of the society of political science or the theories? What are the behavioral perspective of the female centered research? That you have to also understand. I can understand that if you understand all these things in a very nitty gritty, if you know all these things in a perfect manner, then definitely you would have a better understanding, you would have a better feeling, and I hope that please not make this thing in a complex. Rather, you understand what does feminist theory means, what feminist theory says, what feminist theory describes, what feminist theory narrates. These all things are very important. Nutshell. Please try to understand all nitty gritty so that you can have a better understanding. Okay. Next, I am going to discuss undeniably. Researchers stated that in so far as almost all versions of feminism involve demonstrating the ways in which politics, understood as power relations, is present in our everyday lives. One could reasonably describe feminist theory as a whole as a kind of political philosophy, distinguishing factor of feminist political theory from feminism broadly, the specific scrutiny of the state and its role in the reproduction or redressing of gender inequality. I can make you understand that if you understand all these things, so how this feminism, all how demonstrating the ways in which politics, understood as power relations, is present in our everyday lives. One could also reasonably describe the feminist theory. What kind of political philosophy there? How it is going to be distinguished factors of feminist. So these all feminist broadly and especially scrutiny role in the reproduction or the redressing of the gender inequality is going to be very important. And I hope that if you understand all the nitty gritty, it will definitely help you in a greater sense. Okay. Now, in addition to being broad and multidisciplinary, the field is comparatively new, inherently innovative, and still expanding. It is described by theorists that feminist political philosophy serves as the field for developing new ideas, practices, and justifications for how political institutions and practices should be organized and reconstructed. This is also you have to understand in this theory. So please try to understand about the feminist theory, how it is going to help you, how it is going to evolve, and basically the all the feminist political philosophy serves as a field for developing new ideas, and the practices are there, justifications are there, and all the institutions should organize and reconstruct in a way that all the society also incorporate the women also in equal terms, in equal numbers, so that the society will grow and so that society will develop. These are the things that you have to. Dear students, try to understand all these things in a very nitty-gritty way and have all these points in a perfect and rightful manner. Next, I have to say the feminist researchers. The feminist researchers, and this is going to help you. The feminist researchers have also examined the internationally inconsistent and disciplinary apparatus of the welfare policies across various regions. Feminists are challenging both the paring down of the state's welfare responsibilities and the intensifications of the security functions in the post 9/11 geopolitical coalitions. It has been well documented in the literature that within feminist theory, states occupy an aggravated space, whereas states have often supported feminist objectives. The states are also the focus of many of the problems that occupy feminists, such as militarism, moral regulations, and the cheaping of women's labor. This is what you have to also understand. So I can make you sure that if you understand all these points, if you understand all these things in a very rightful manner, definitely you will understand what the feminist theory talks about, what the feminist researchers are saying. These all things are very important to make you understand. Next, I am going to discuss in spite of feminist normative oppositions to view from nowhere in the particular that purport to be relevant everywhere. Feminist state theory has played its key discussions with the little specification of state context, geographical coordinates, and national histories remain largely undescribed. In the classics within the field of feminist state theory, Karl Bartman, 1988, it has been emphasized in literature that dissimilar to more disciplined and conventional versions of the state theory dominated by political science and legal studies, feminist state theories focused on other areas such as literary study, anthropology, queer theory, development studies, history, and sociology. These are the things that you have to take care in all the respects that the feminist theories are into definite format in a different field, and definitely it has to be understood by observing all sort of things in a very perfect and rightful manner. Okay, dear students, right? Okay, now you know many contributors such as Rajeshwari Sundarajan and Women Park are literally theorists who have written about states and influence. Hagar Kotep, involved in the field of political philosophy, has written about urgent issues such as Israel's occupation. Margaret Little is an academician in political studies and women studies and an anti-poverty activist. What the name anti-poverty activist? While Lenin Marx is a historian fascinated in the issues related to gender history and the social history of religion. Each theorist has greatly contributed for innovative feminist writings, states steering clear of greed, assumed teleology, whether it is the state as a liberating force or as a coercive or a co-opting force, is you have to understand that how these all people, how these all activists, theorists, and researchers, they have written all these things in a very perfect manner to make you understand about this theory, about this feminist theory. This is what you have to also understand. In debate also, Sundarajan Sen argued strongly against philosophical purism, articulating models of engagement that are cautions of the dangers of governance feminism while also being attentive to the redistrictive potentialism of the state power. Latest articles contradicts unitary notions of the state and indicated important subnational, regional, and differences with respect to Canada. Sundarajan's articles defines the political insufficiencies of the mourning figures as the locus of feminist opposition to the state and argues instead for more robust agonistic approach to the state politics that accounts for many female subjects and political outcomes. So these are the things that you have to also understand, and I hope that if you understand, then definitely you can have a better understanding. So my point is that in the political science you have to understand all these things. Next, Park critic used the same as the framing device, understanding the history of compotum and calling rather for injuring its statement. Kotep perceived that the targeting women and children in Gaza in 2008 and signaled a shift in the moral economies. The government, the gendered formulations of women's role in war and peacekeeping is being reconfigured as a state such as Israel and Sri Lanka target civilian with impunity. This is what a kind of critique is there that we have to also understand. Next, to summarize, feminism is the planned movement which increases egalitarianism for men and women in political, economic, and social areas. In vast literature, it is also documented that the feminist theory is an extension of general movement, empowered women around the globe. And feminism can be elaborated as recognition and critique of male supremacy combined with effort to change it. It is also well established that feminists combats for the equality of women and argue that women should share equally in society's opportunities and scarce resources. Feminists consider that the women are harassed due to their sex based on the prevailing belief of the patriarchy. Removal of patriarchy will result in liberty for women. So these are the points that you have to write in the brief and in the conclusion. So let's say, and I think every point is very important. In the next class, I will be discussing justice, conception of justice, with a special reference to Rawls' theory of justice and its community critics. Okay, so it's my referral code RJ01. You can have 10% discounts, and my telegram link is Discourse Academy Rakesh Jha. So please, you can have any doubt is there, you can also ask me so that I can relate and I can reply you. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. See you. Stay safe. And I hope that you could have enjoyed this class. And if you have any doubt so far, you can also put before me so that you know. Suppose you have any kinds of problems, any kinds of doubt, and then definitely I will be replying through my telegram link, through my all sort of things, because ultimately it is you to understand that everything is necessary for you. And because why I am saying that political science is an optional paper in which you can also read the theories, thoughts, thinkers, but at the same time you have to also relate with the topics, with the things that are very much relevant.